So I want to play this video of this Asian immigrant who by all accounts is the type of immigrant that we want. This is someone who assimilates, they speak the language, they're a net contributor, not a net negative, not a drain on the system. And they don't take the country that they immigrate to for granted. And I believe it was JFK who said don't ask what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And he said that in the context of a very different political era, but the message still holds true. It's not this idea that the country that they immigrate to is going to prop them up and support their lifestyle. It should be, hey, we're coming to your country. We want to contribute. We want to assimilate. We want to be part of your culture. Anyways, let's take a look at this video and see what he has to say.
Since when the fuck did we have to bow down to certain communities? Look, I'm Asian. I'm Vietnamese, okay? When we have our own communities too. Our communities thriving. We have businesses. We've been here only, less than 50 years after the 1975. Our communities are thriving throughout the United States. If you look at our numbers, there's only about 2 million of us here in the United States. And out of that 2 million people that we have, majority of us have businesses, scientists, engineers, doctors, bright mind people that given back to this country more than we've taken. And we have never asked anybody to bow down or speak our language. Okay? Since when the fuck this stupid ass mayor of the little pirate motherfucking land pirates Molian in Minnesota have to speak their language and apologizing for those motherfucking crook ass
Yeah, and this is the sort of immigrant that we want, someone that comes to the country and assimilates and actually provides a benefit to the country. And folks, I want to bring up, another important notion here that the mainstream media and politicians have been trying to shove down our throats for, 20 years since we've been having this immigration debate. And that's this notion that we were founded by immigrants, and so you should support modern day immigration. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That's a blatant lie. And the reality is, if you take Canada, for example, we weren't founded by immigrants, we were founded by settlers. And there's a big distinction there. They came to a new land, they left their homes in Europe, and they came to a new land that had nothing for them. There was no social safety net, there was no social welfare program that was going to pick them up and provide free housing and free medical. None of that existed. Okay, they came to a country that literally had nothing. There was hardly even any infrastructure. But it was this, rugged individualism, this tenacity to forge a life for themselves and their family, and that they, utilized this ability to carve out an existence for themselves in a land that had nothing and make a life for themselves. And that's the legacy and the heritage that has been carried down through generations. And that's what makes the West unique. They founded these countries with very little. I think in Canada, I could get the date wrong, but I believe it was 1604, which was the first European settlement in Acadia. And then I think 1610 was the first British settlement. But the point is, that's a stark dichotomy from what we have today. The immigration that is plaguing the Western countries right now is nothing like the immigration that we had back then in the 1600s and 1700s. In Canada, for example, they come here, they get a free hotel room, which they can stay in. Actually, the same thing's happening in the UK with the hotel rooms. They're given an allowance, I believe it's $80,000 or $85,000 a year, and a free phone and all these other free things. I mean, there are people in Canada that don't even have that, and yet we are supposed to work and be tax slaves for this, new immigrant class who, quite frankly, don't give a shit about our culture. They don't care, folks. I mean, they could care less. They don't believe what we believe. They don't think like we do. They don't speak the same language. They don't even care about learning to speak the same language. I mean, that's one of the most egregious factors in this whole thing is that, there's these communities that come here. They don't speak English. And yet they demand that the government provide them information and, government papers in their language so that they can understand it. I mean, does that make any sense to you whatsoever? Did I miss the memo on that one? I thought it was when immigrants come to a country, they come there to assimilate and learn the language. Anyways, it's getting bad out there. And I think that one of the new political talking points is going to be this idea of reimmigration. But I think now is the time that we stand up against this and actually start speaking out about what is happening in our countries.